In previous lesson, we saw a simple backtest, just to get into backtesting fast. Now it is time to play with the configuration, to be able to adjust the strategy to our needs. Let's say we want to set the initial capital or a fixed stop loss. There are two ways how to do that. One is to specify it in the formula, in the code itself. It requires some learning, but it can be very flexible. The other is to configure it in settings. We will start with that one, as the goal now is to have a working backtest up and running, and we can build up on that with extra functionalities. So, in our analysis window, we got this icon settings. Click on it. Backtester settings window will open. Right here, the first parameter is our initial equity, with which we will backtest. So let's keep it at 10,000 USD. Positions are long. This needs to be in line with our code, but as our formula is opening long positions, it is correct. Periodicity, we are testing on daily data, so also correct. Then some less important settings follow: minimum shares, minimum position value. What each of them does is described in documentation. It is not necessary to explain all of them now. But round lot size is useful. 0 means that we can buy fractional shares. What is that? It means that if a stock costs 100, we can buy 1.5 stock for $150. That may be possible with your broker, but I will set this to 1, which means that we will always buy a real amount of shares, like 1, 10, 50, not fractions. Then commissions are very important. Sometimes a profitable system can turn into losing one if you count in the commissions. To buy share, I personally use interactive brokers, and there I pay 1 USD for a transaction. So I will keep 1 USD per trade. If you buy, let's say, for 50 cents a trade, type here 0.5. Let me show you one more settings, and that is not here, but see these headers of columns. Right click there, and here we have option setup columns, and we can decide which columns to display and which to hide. Click on shares, which means amount of shares bought. And we see that these are the fractions, because these are not whole numbers. So for 10,000 USD, we bought 246.9 shares. But if now we have set it to round lot size 1. If we run it again, the number of shares will be rounded. So that's just the effect of round lot size. If we change the initial equity to 5,000 and we run the test again, we start with 5,000. So let's continue in our backtester settings. Trades. One of the most important settings. It is really important to understand this. You remember from previous lesson that our system buys at the close of the same day when the condition was met, which means when the day closed above the average line. But it is not very real, is it? Let's look. Imagine we are checking every day. Here it was the entry bar. Let's display it again. Show arrows for actual trades in case it disappears. It disappeared because in the meantime I switched off the platform and switched it on again. Imagine we are checking every day whether a stock is closing above the average, and only then we are triggering a trade. And even worse, when we are following many stocks, not just one. It is much better to wait for the day to close, then evaluate if the condition was fulfilled, and open the position comfortably the other day at open price. Let's say with a waiting market order. And the same applies to exiting the position. Let's just wait for the signal candle to close and exit the other day at open. Let's go back, settings, trades. By default, it is set as it is. For long trades, which is our case, buy at close, exit or sell at close. We can select from predefined scenario. So the default is this one. Trade current bar on close, the stops exit on close. But now I prefer this one. Trade next bar on open and exit next bar on open. We can also select it manually. Custom, and we are free to change it. So there are two ways. Of course, more flexible is the custom. What is important here is the buy and sell delay. Delay 0 means that we are entering or exiting at the signal bar, which was this default setting. Delay 1 means that we enter or exit at the other bar, the other day, the next day. This is what will we look at now. And delay 2 means that we enter or exit 2 bars after the signal, and so on. So again, let's see the immediate effect. Backtest. Now it is important to refresh this show arrows for actual trades, because if we look at the chart now, we will still see the old settings or nothing. So show arrows for actual trades for the current, for the new setup, for the new backtest. And we see that the entry and the exit shifted 1 bar. So this was the signal bar. Here we got the signal to buy, but we actually bought here the other day. Here we got signal to sell and we sold the other day. And for which price? It should be the open, right? Because that's what we set. So this is this bar from this trade from the 4th of September, because now it was the signal was the 3rd, but we entered on the 4th for the price of 79.99. And we can verify that it was the open. See? The same for the exit, the open 83.67, and that was the exit price. So this is really important. The same applies to short trades, but we will get to short trades later. Now stops. Stop loss and profit taker. Again, we have some predefined scenarios. But first, let's look at what it actually means. Maximum loss. profit target, trailing stop, or N-bar stop. So this is a classical stop loss. We can disable it, we can set it in percents, we can set it in points. If I set it in percent, stop loss will be set to, let's say, 5%. Re-entry delay means if we are stopped out at stop loss, how many bars will we wait before entering new position? 0 is fine for now. Profit target. So that's our target where we will execute the profit. Currently it is disabled. I will set it to points. So target will be in points. In the case of stock, it means the dollar value. 1 point is $1. So after a stock rises $3, then exit the position. Again, if profit target is reached, how many bars will I wait before exiting new trade if the conditions are met? 0 is fine. Trailing stop is the stop that follows the price. If the price keeps rising, the stop also is rising and follows the price. Currently I will keep it disabled. N-bar stop is if I set, let's say, 10 bars, any trade, any position which lasts for more than 10 bars will be executed, will be closed, irrelevant of where the price currently is, the position will be closed after 10 bars. We will see how it works when enabled. Alright, stop 5%, target 3 points, $3, trailing stop disabled, and bar stop will be 10 bar stop. After 10 bars it will get closed. Okay, and let's run our backtest. In the number of bars we see that there is no trade longer than 11 bars. That's because of our N bar stop where we set 10. Here in the trade column it says what kind of stop or profit was reached. If there is nothing, it was executed with our formula, with this one. When the price dropped below the exponential moving average. When there is N bar, it means that the trade got stopped after 10 bars. And the 11th is the exiting bar. Profit means that we exited by the profit target condition. And that was set to $3, which is what we see. And max loss. Max loss means stop loss was hit, that the stock dropped 5%, and when that happened the other day we exited. And that's more or less it. The other tabs report that is related to this list. If you want to see trade list or detailed log or summary, some statistics, but it's not related to the code itself. Portfolio, that's when we are trading more than one, when we are following more than one stock. So we will get to it soon. Walk forward and Monte Carlo. That's also very good to see, but now let's keep it simple. So that's all of settings. We saw the basics, the basic backtest. Now we are able to run a backtest, configure the backtest, and we are prepared to see the statistics and graphical representation.